People are often perhaps experts by experience sometimes. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll just find a way to do it. And our model now is to support other communities. I think my key strengths really are around connecting people. And wouldn't we all like to save the world? Wouldn't we all like to make this huge difference?
Hi, I'm Kathy Wong and I'm your host and producer for Crazy Dreamers TV. And look where I am tonight. It's the most amazing evening, still here in Manchester, and I'm here today to talk to a lady who's actually become a really good friend of mine now. We didn't know each other from a bar of soap about 6 months ago. We met through Facebook and connected. Nickala Torkington, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to you. Welcome to the UK.
I know, this beautiful area that you live in. I just love being in this countryside. So tell us about what a social business consultant is, Nickala.
Well, over the last 15, 20 years, the social economy, social enterprise sector has grown and developed. And there's a lot of people now trying to operate in this space. There's a number of agencies that support social entrepreneurs. And over time, there's been a growing need for people who have got specialist knowledge in this area to be able to step in either in a hands-on way or an arm's length way to help people develop their ideas, grow them, scale them, make connections with people, or get technical knowledge, technical expertise. So having worked in the social enterprise sector for nearly 20 years now, I use my knowledge and expertise to help social entrepreneurs get ahead. In terms of Flourish, so Flourish is something that evolved after a number of years of piloting. I had spent a lot of time working with social entrepreneurs across the North and Midlands in lots of sectors from all walks of life. And having worked for a national agency called Unlimited for over 12 years, I recognised that it was kind of 50-50. There were 50% of people were guys and 50% of people were women. And that's unusual. In the private sector, it's more like 15 to 20% of startups are women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And I thought there's something in this, as you know, women are drawn to this space, they're drawn to work in this sector. And I wonder how many more women would work in social entrepreneurship, have this opportunity, influence, create change, if more of them knew about it, and more of them knew how to start up, and more of them perhaps knew how to scale up. So Flourish was born out of wanting to kind of explore that.
And I believe that it's really one of the only sectors, right, where women and men can earn similar sorts of money. It's not, the divide is not as great in this sector as it is in other sectors.
As far as I understand it, I think the jury's still out and there's work still to do. But overall, women who are earning are earning comparatively. I think there's a lot of women and a lot of social entrepreneurs in general in that startup phase who perhaps aren't paying themselves for the first few years or aren't paying themselves enough. So I think there's still work to do, but in terms of equality, it feels like an equal space.
What are some of the observations you're making about what are people struggling with?
Okay. Well, I think some of the observations initially are people are often perhaps experts by experience. Sometimes they've kind of seen an injustice or they've experienced something where they haven't reached the right support, so that's led them here. I've seen people who just want to do good, want to use their skills to influence change in some way, who perhaps aren't experts in what they're doing, but their connections, their knowledge, their technical networks help create change more quickly as a catalyst. In terms of, so I think people can come from different sides. I think in terms of what some of the challenges are that people face, it kind of varies from their standpoint where they're coming from, but traditionally things that kind of people find baffling are the business models and trying to work out where is the business in here. Often they're coming at this from a social cause initially, or they're trying something quite innovative, quite new. Their customers might be different to their beneficiaries, and the people they want to benefit might not be able to afford to pay for that. So working out the business model is crucial. I think something that people also can struggle with is the governance models. rather than just being a sole trader or just setting up a simple PTY, or setting up a simple company, there's a lot more variance in the way these things are governed and managed. Sometimes in order to attract funding or attract the right investment, or to be seen as a bona fide social enterprise. So governance is something that I often help people with. The other key difference that needs a bit more exploration and that varies from business to business is around social value and measuring that social value. So not just doing what is the impact, how many people am I benefiting, what can I tell my funders, investors or commissioners that I'm doing or that my company is doing to justify our existence. This is a kind of intrinsic need in social entrepreneurs to want to understand how they're making a difference, and by learning how to measure the financial and other sort of social value aspects to what they do, not only can they sort of evidence their uniqueness or their credibility to the difference that they're making.
I mean, I know with myself, we're exploring other business opportunities for Moloko so that we can have multiple income streams and therefore more impact. And, I'm now very much focused on finding other co-founders. And even in the, our flip-flop side of the business, I'm also looking for other partners now to get involved as we scale up.
Sure.
What are your thoughts around that? Would you strongly suggest that people do think about co-founders, or what would you suggest that they also consider at that stage of getting their idea off the ground?
Well, I think there are lots of factors involved, so I think it's different for everybody, but I know I wouldn't have got things with Flourish off the ground as quickly or as moved as quickly without my co-founder Joe McGrath. We've worked together previously. We have a similar mindset to some degree, we share some similar values, got complementary skills, but also got some similar skills and a high level of trust. And so I think some of those, understanding your skills and how they, complement one another, and having someone you can trust is a big thing. And if you have people around you who you think you could work with, it's quite weird asking someone to be a business partner. It's not a normal conversation. You don't just jump into business with your friends or your family necessarily in the social space, because there's too much at risk. And
so maybe it's like I've always surrounded myself with mentors, and I continue to have a number of mentors.
I mean, mentors are a great side. So if you can't find a co-founder, having advisors, mentors, a working group, a special focus group to go back to and check in with is a good thing.
But there's so many people think they need money to start. You hear this continual, I don't have the money, I can't do it. What are your thoughts around that?
What are my thoughts? I think if you're an entrepreneur, you'll just find a way to do it, and if you can make a difference, you seek to find a way to make a difference. The problem comes when things start to snowball or mushroom, and you want to do more, and there comes a point where money does become an issue. But in order to just test something, usually having focus groups, doing market research, desk-based research, going on reconnaissance missions to see how other people are doing things, that doesn't take a lot of time.
No, it's a bit more time than it is money, but it doesn't necessarily take money, does it?
Depending on the type, a lot of the social businesses I work with, unlike yours to some degree, are service-based businesses, so there isn't that initial outlay to cover the cost of equipment or manufacture and that sort of thing.
On average, is the sort of time to expect that you need
it's 2 or 3 years, isn't it? I would say it's 2 or 3 years, and then some. I think with a lot of the women that we work with, or social entrepreneurs, male or female, if they're doing this alongside a day job, which often a lot of them are, it can take a while longer. So that piloting phase, it can happen over a couple of years. Or perhaps if someone needs to build their confidence and self-belief, that can take a couple of years, and then 2 to 3 years trading from then. So I think 2 to 5 years in reality, from a kernel of an idea to seeing sustainability, seeing repeat income, having those viable products to sell.
So tell me a little bit more about, you've said that you've been doing this for about 20 years, but what led you to that? Why do you do what you do today?
So I've been on various leadership development programs, and I think that's been a big eye-opener for me, and I got the good fortune of going on some of these things early on, in my 20s. But prior to that, which helped me reflect back and understand things, but I'd always had an interest in supporting people. I've always been a good connector. I've always been able to create events. So back in school, I was involved in like youth parliament type work before even any of this sort of stuff was kind of buzzwords. I was elected student rep every year in high school. When I look back, I get on and I do things, and I must have a good way of diplomatically communicating with people to get certain messages across. I think my key strengths really are around connecting people, and we were talking about this
That's why
earlier.
you and I have connected, right? Because we both love connecting.
We're good connectors. We're good talent scouts and can spot opportunities, and I don't have to do it all myself. I think that's another reason I evolved Flourish is, wouldn't we all like to save the world? Wouldn't we all like to make this huge difference? It's too big a beast.
For one
a lady
person.
in our network said the other day, you wouldn't try and eat an elephant whole. You bite it into bite-sized chunks, and through Flourish we're able to support a network of women who create that change, and that ripple effect evolves. And we're able to create cash through crowdfunding that we invest in women on an annual basis, and we support them through peer learning and mentoring. And we've invested in over 30 businesses now in the last few years. Just everyday women. We're not high net worth individuals. We've had very little funding or investment into the work we do. We've wanted to show people you don't have to wait for someone to fund you. You can get on and do it anyway. And our model now is to support other communities and other networks of women or other sectoral groups of social entrepreneurs that want to crack on really and support one another to make that change.
Fantastic. And I'm just going to end off by asking you, do you have a crazy dream?
Crazy dream. Crazy dream. I think we all have crazy dreams all the time. I think I'd like to see a day. My crazy dream is being able to back off and watch the women that we've supported to flourish. That's what we're trying to enable really. So that I can step back and mobilise others to create the change they see needed. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're doing. And
beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time on that, Nickala.
Fine.
So I love the way in which Nickala has built this network of women who are there supporting one another. And I know with my own business that that's how I've got to where I am today. So if you are a female change maker and you feel that you need some extra support, I strongly suggest you look up the Flourish Network. I will be publishing details on that so that you can access Nickala's details. So hopefully the planes weren't too bad, guys, and that you can hear this all right. But that is, what it's like. We just take these interviews wherever we can. Anyway, until next time, be well and dream crazy, guys. Bye.